If you've got plenty of fruit, you can thrive. If you're going to eat just animal flesh, you're not going to thrive. If you're going to eat just animal secretion, you're not going to thrive. If you're going to eat just greens, you're not going to thrive. The only food you can thrive on for long periods of time is fruit. Hi everybody.
Hello everyone.
Today we're going to answer the question about whether or not we eat greens. People have asked, more than one person. Do we eat greens? Should I start?
Yes.
Well, the simple answer is no, we don't. We just eat fruit. But I did write in my autobiography, I think in volume 3, that I'm growing here some perennial greens. And I also wrote that I do so in case there's any times of shortage or scarcity with food and fruit. And it's something that we can fall back onto. So I grow like sweet leaf, ivica, a moringa tree. And these are perennial greens that you can take off of the plant and eat. And the truth is that there have been times where we take some leaves off, and I especially, more so than Kritka, will eat those. But it happens so very rarely that it's not really worth talking about. But the fact that I've written it has put it out there in the world, and people are saying, look, he's saying he deliberately grows greens to eat. So therefore, he's eating greens.
He's not fruitarian.
He's not fruitarian. I think this is a shallow way of looking at it, really, and is jumping on something to find fault. And the truth is also that if you do look closely at anybody's life, you're going to find fault. So the honest, complete answer is no, I don't eat completely only fruit, because there are exceptions to eating only fruit. I don't remember the last time I picked any greens from the garden. They're just there. And more so, I grow them to show people that you can have perennial greens, because we get people here that have never seen something like sweet leaf, and all they know is lettuce. So if you can pick a few leaves off the plant and show them, I've demonstrated before, this is edible, look, eat it. And I've eaten it. And people can point out and say, you're not perfect. Absolutely right. We're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. The idea of Eden Fruitarianism is to work towards perfection. And the other thing is that even though we eat only fruit, like 99.99% of the time, some of that fruit is causing much more damage than the greens that I might eat in the garden on very rare occasions. Because we get fruit that comes in from further afield. It might come in from Victoria or somewhere that's 3,000, 4,000 kilometers away, however the distance it might be, and we'll eat that fruit. And surely that fruit has caused much more damage than a little bit of greens that I've grown here. So again, if you look closely at us, you're going to find imperfection. You're going to find things that you can jump on and say, that's not right. We drive a car. We do lots of things, but we're not using those things as an excuse to do further damage. We're trying to minimize damage as best as we can.
I agree with you. We both have that experience separately and now together, that people, if we tell them we eat fruit, they often want to find fault in us. They don't show interest. And is that actually possible? I never heard of it, or something on those lines. Most people would not ever mention that. They would just say something like, are you using plastic knives so you don't kill the vitamins? They worry about stuff like this. And yet they eat everything. And, and they worry for us if we have enough nutrition from the food we eat, which is fully packed with it. There's nothing which can harm you unless it's really pumped with bad chemicals. Because even if it has the chemicals, the person who eats only fruit, the body will be able to clean it sooner or later in its own time, depends on what it is. But people who eat anything, or even raw food, with a lot of frozen vegetables and those oils and agave syrups, they would have also health problems because this is not natural food. For us, the green, it's something like in the cravings. When you crave, you would like to have something different. So therefore, sometimes we may get the sweet leaf. I never was big on the greens. I was always attracted mostly by the fruit. Only when I was kid with my mom, only in a family, we used to cook spinach. And when I grew up, I made a spinach for myself from stinging nettle. And that's maybe only green really I was into. And the stinging nettle was also only in the season since spring to autumn. And then through the winter, I didn't have them. And I used to love parsley when I lived at home with my parents since our early childhood. That's true. I used to pick on parsley, chew on it, but spit out the pulp because the pulp for me was not very pleasant. But when I was younger than that, I used to eat grass and everything. So I would swallow the pulp as well. With some things, yes, with some things, no. But this is not part of our diet. We don't say it's essential to our health. We need it for some kind of balance. People mention often the nutritional balance. We're not into this at all. Yes, we eat fruit for ethical reasons. With the time, I learned you can eat other things ethically because you don't kill them and they still go to seeds, they still have full life, they can make a babies, flowers, seeds, everything. So, but even that, we don't do it. We're not really attracted to it.
No.
As we say, sometimes when we do tomato, cucumber, zucchini salad, we will put a bit of sweet leaf, but Arabica I don't like. It's slimy. If we need to survive, I will find it difficult to eat, but true also is if I were really hungry, I would eat it. I wouldn't be so fussy. I know as a child, I used to eat the young leaves from the trees when they start coming out in the spring. That's something, it wouldn't even cross my mind here because I have adequate food I'm supposed to naturally eat. But when I was a kid, I ate a lot of wrong food. So therefore, I believe I was more craving those green things like grass.
I think those kind of foods can be looked at more as survival foods or in times of scarcity, because I have explained in my book, I've created this ethical food tower that shows you what foods are most ethical, and there's no doubt that tree fruit's at the very top of the list. And of course, you've got animal flesh and animal secretions at the bottom, and just above that, you've got grains, cereal, monocrop grains, and things like leaves, perennial leaves, they're just below the fruit. We can't deny that you do harm the plant in some way by taking a healthy leaf off or taking off a healthy shoot from a plant. It is obviously is not the ideal thing to be doing, but it's not as harmful, anywhere near as harmful as pulling up roots or cutting down whole plants because you want to eat them all. Of course, monocrops, which is an incredibly horrible thing we do into the land. It's turning the land into desert. I think and if somebody is growing their own food at home and they're growing their own leaves to eat as well, then they're doing so much better than a fruitarian who's eating solely fruit that he's bought in a supermarket, living in a city. Now, I know there's always room for improvement no matter what lifestyle you're on, but the harm that somebody is doing growing their own food is so much less than the harm that somebody's doing who's reliant on the system. So if you're growing your own fruit and a few greens as well, you're at the top of the list really in terms of people causing the least harm in this world.
Yes, that's true. I noticed raw food people, the ones I've seen in real life, how they make big ball like this, like huge. Our balls for salad are tiny, it's like this. and their bowl is like this, full of different green leaves with spinach and silver beet and lettuce, and right, they put big emphasis on that green food. For me, it's never was easy to digest. When I took an apple from tree, I would eat it and I would fully enjoy it. The greens, I may eat little bit, and I was over it. I never considered it as something I should have a heaps of, because I was never attracted to the greens, really. Even I sometimes pick a little bit, chew on it, and spit hot. And I watch sometimes, I used to watch it almost every day, short videos of a mother feeding two twins, and I liked the way she feeds her children. She put the food on the front of them, even when they were little babies. After 6 months, most people start giving solid food. And she started with fruit. And she will put each time different fruit, because she was testing what they actually like and what they doesn't like. She let them just play with it. If they mash it on themselves, she fully let them do whatever they want. And only if she seems to be dangerous somehow for them, she will tell them why they should not do that, and gently. And that's it. Anyway, those kids, they now like 2-year-old or 3, I'm not sure. And each time those kids have fruit, they show most enthusiasm to eat. They really eat it like they scared somebody going to take it away from them, especially when they give it other food. And I notice that on a lot of kids. When they get fruit occasionally and there's heaps of it, they get really excited and they start eating it like this, which I never seen them eat any food with such enthusiasm. I also notice when they get the greens, raw greens on their plate, they show interest in it, might be because they have few more things on the plate. So the interest in the greens are almost always on the end. They check this thing, and then they go check on a green. And when they put it in the mouth, they find it curious, they put more, and interesting enough, they really start stuffing the mouth with that green. And they keep chewing it. They still have their first mouthful, chewing, and then suddenly they both go, blah. And they spit that ball, and they will go even with their hands and try to bite all the rest from their tongue, from their mouth. They really feel like suddenly they have big poison or something they really despise to have in their mouth. And that I found very curious. This is maybe where I come from, the saying children don't like green, because I think they're not attracted to the color and they're not attracted to the bulk of the, because it's juicy kind of on the beginning, and then it's become like sawdust, very dry, fibrous, yeah, ugly thing. And so they decide to spit it out with like disgust, like blah. And I go back now to the people eating big bowls full of greens. If I eat it, I would definitely get constipation, because I know when I was kid and there was not enough fruit and I ate more like raw veggies and including greens, because I would eat anything raw, and we have a lot of things fresh in the garden constantly through the season daily. I would always chew on those things, but I'd never eat it like I'd eat fruit.
You'll find the people that are eating these big bowls of greens, that they have a tendency to always carry a water bottle with them all the time. I'm sure that the greens are dehydrating them in some ways. Whereas when you're eating fruit, you don't need that, because the fruit is hydrating all the time. If you're eating only fruit, you're not going to need to be drinking water all the time. We talked about this in another video about our stance on drinking water. But the fact that you're eating a lot of greens is definitely going to make you thirsty.
And this is a great point, because if you're thirsty, that indicates there is something toxic in your food. Because the food you put in your body and it's not natural to your body, and you put too much of it, you're definitely going to feel the negative effect of it. I believe if I was living only on the greens, I would be sick sooner or later from it. I would not feel as many benefits I feel from fruit alone.
Yeah, it's true. You can thrive on just fruit. You can do that. You can thrive. If you've got an abundance of fruit, plenty of fruit, you can thrive. If you're going to eat just animal flesh, you're not going to thrive. If you're going to eat just animal secretion, you're not going to thrive. If you're going to eat just greens, you're not going to thrive. The only food you can thrive on for long periods of time, like we're talking about a whole lifetime,
Whole life.
is fruit. And nothing else. You're not going to thrive. You're not going to even survive long term if you're eating just animal flesh. And you're not going to thrive if you're eating just cheese or if you're drinking just milk or other animal secretions. You're not going to thrive on that. Whereas you will with fruit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's true. Not only with the fruit you will thrive, but also when it's something wrong with you, your body can deal with it. Also, when you eat some fruit with more chemicals in it, your body can deal with it. But if you eat anything else but the fruit, whatever it is, raw or cooked, yeah, of course, raw is always best. You will always build some harm in your body, which will sooner or later show.
I want to address that Pitka said that if you're thirsty, it shows you've got some kind of toxicity inside of you. But I don't think that's 100% true, because you can be outside working hard on fruit and get thirsty. You can get thirsty. Getting thirsty is normal under certain circumstances. But thirst and hunger, they hang together when you're on a fruit diet. So we juice a lot. We drink a lot of our fruit. We've mentioned that before.
Well, I personally don't get thirsty. I honestly, it doesn't matter what I do, even exercise or anything. But we drink fruit juices every day, 3 liter and a half juice every day. And then I eat some fruit as well. And I think that's the reason why I don't get thirsty. And I can work in the garden on a full sun, in a hot summer day in the tropics. I definitely don't get thirsty. I may get worn out toward the end of the bit, but soon as I rest for like 5 minutes, I'm back fully recharged and I can keep going again. But it's not like, oh, I need to drink now.
Anyway, I think we've more than answered the question. We've gone over like we always do. We always talk about more than the question actually is, but I think we've addressed the issue. So if it's okay with you, we say goodbye till next week.
Yeah, we can say goodbye. Cultivate love in your heart, because love is most important thing we can have. It's the best value you can multiply. Multiply the love in your heart. Okay, have a good one. Till next time. Bye.